Welcome to a beautiful morning here in Kenya. It is beautiful and sunny. There's not a cloud in the sky after the rain last night. My name is Brent Smith. I have Dangerous Dave on camera, and you're on your very own privately guided live African safari from Kenya and South Africa. Now, we have a lovely big male lion. Oh, he's just stood up, and he's feeding on a buffalo carcass. We were here last night. Remember, this is 100% live, coming to you from Kenya. Look how big his belly is. Now, I'm not sure. There were 3 of them here last night, and I can't see the other 2 males just yet, but it's quite possible they are being flat cats in the grass. And you'll see there are quite a few other vehicles around, also enjoying this incredible sighting. Now, remember, if you want to ask us any questions, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Now, the main reason I came here this morning is I was hoping to see a bit of lion-hyena interaction. Now, the hyenas have not quite got brave enough just yet. We've got a couple lying around. There's about 7 in total. Now, chatting to the hyena researchers in the area, they say you need about 7 hyenas per male lion to push them off the carcass. So 7 isn't enough for 3. We need 21 at least hyenas. Yeah, so you're listening to me. Call some friends, buddy, so you can go steal that buffalo from the lion. So they all are dotted about in the open plain around us, so you never know. They might this afternoon gather enough resources to be able to challenge those male lions. There's another one there. That one's like, oh no, there's not enough of us, I'm going home. I've had a long night looking at a piece of buffalo meat I can't eat. I'm done. There we go. Thompson's gazelle and a hyena. And is that an elephant? No? There's some topi. I thought there were some ellies back there as well somewhere. There were some ellies a little bit earlier. Ah, there they are. There they are in the distance, in the mist. Topi and elephant. So lots happening out on the big open plain this morning. Now, Monica's wondering, am I not afraid of being attacked by the lions? Monica, I'm not. I'm quite safe in my safari vehicle here. Now, here we go. You must remember that these lions have probably grown up, or have grown up with safari vehicles around them. And a safari vehicle, a lion doesn't know that there's a person in it. They don't sort of see a safari vehicle as a threat. It doesn't smell like anything they know. It smells like diesel or petrol or oil, and even human beings don't quite smell like they used to. So a lot of a lion's memories of human beings will be instinctive, based off 200,000 years of sharing savannas with human beings. So if we were to get out on foot, it would be a very different thing. And even on a warm day like this, with a lion with a fat tummy like that, if I had to walk up to that buffalo carcass, the most likely chances that he would run away. Now, man is the dominant diurnal predator, and lions are the dominant nocturnal predator. So what that means is, over the last 200,000 years, human beings have dominated the savanna biome during the day, and a group of men is quite capable of chasing and killing a male lion, as the Masai have proven over the last couple of thousand years, but they used to hunt lions with spears. However, when it comes to dark time, the night time, the lion is dominant because we can't see. And that's one of the reasons human beings want to move back into their homes and safe places as soon as it gets dark, because at night we just become another meal in the food chain. Now, Jessica was wondering about the birds, Dave. There we go. Jessica was saying, what bird's on the other line there? Well, that particular bird is a hooded vulture. It's waiting for a gap for that line to move off so it can have a snack. And the bigger vulture species haven't quite descended from the trees yet. They're still warming up. We've got some white-backed vultures, I think. Yes, there's white-backed vultures there. No Rupel's griffins yet. There's also another hooded vulture there. But I think on a nice clear day today, yesterday was quite windy, quite chilly, but on a hot day like today, the thermals are going to be rising and the vultures will be spotting this carcass. So I think we could see quite a few more vultures here as the day progresses. And I think that'll only be much later. Oh, Bob Vulture incoming, Dave. Here we go. You see it? There we go, Dave. Dave's just woken up and he only had tea, not coffee this morning. It's okay, Dave. So there we go. What do we got there? White-back vulture. Look at him how he uses his tail. Topkus is wondering, do lions ever hunt new prey when they still have leftovers? All predators are opportunists, and if something was silly enough to wander into that lion, he would definitely eat it. And look at it. Now, quite often, especially on a cold morning after a bit of rain last night, look at that vulture spreading out his wings, drying, warming up. He's got the right idea. It's quite nice in the sun this morning. I think by 11 o'clock we're not going to be saying that, but in the morning, this lovely warm sort of feeling you get from basking in the sun, as that vulture is doing at this very moment. Oh, what is that in the distance there? Oh, just some more topi. The hyenas are not gathering en masse to storm the lions just yet, so I think we'll probably try here this afternoon or this evening, and in the meantime I think we're going to carry on, see what other wonders the Masai Mara has for us on this magnificent morning. Oh, the hyenas' heads are not even up, they are flat, flat, flat. But look at that vulture, really enjoying the morning sun. Now, of course, the sun is up and bright already here, but it sounds like it's just peeping over the horizon at Djuma. Let's go have a look with Ali. Well, we are not quite a lion, but definitely a hairy beast. Now, these are olive baboons, and we can see a warthog in the background as well. Now, so slightly different species to the Chitwa baboon, and they're much fluffier, and that's obviously to do with, quite a bit to do with the high altitudes. And, oh, is that little one in a tree up there? You can just see the tree bending. Oh, it looks like he might fall. Hanging on. Hey, little one. Looks like he's having the best time. So they are similar in size to the Chitwa baboons, except they are just a lot fluffier. And in habits, very, very similar to Chitwa baboons. They generally will like to feed on the ground, but will run to the trees at the first sign of a threat, and also will sleep in the trees. Oh, it looks like there's a little party going on there. All the little youngsters. Isn't that cute? Oh! He was screaming before he even hit the next bush. They are just such fascinating creatures to watch, and always up to something. Remember, hashtag Safari Live if you've got any questions for us. And it's an absolutely gorgeous here this morning, and lots of stuff going on. We've come to this area to actually look for leopards. We haven't had too many good leopard sightings. Look at the little ones chasing each other. Big games going on. Now, if you go a little bit to the right there's a tiny one walking behind that warthog. There he comes out. Hey, little one. Now, Jane is wondering, what is the average baboon troop size in the Mara? Jane, I'd say probably 30 or 40. I have seen some bigger ones. I think this is quite a big one, just in the area we are on the edge of the Mara River. I think there's quite a lot of good habitat for them. Now, it's not uncommon to see other animals feeding with the baboons, like the warthogs at the moment. Now, baboons are really great sentries. Oh, there's some wrestling going on between two little ones again on the log. Just to the left. No, wrestle over. But there's up in the tree there. I think there's going to be some more pandemonium. And there's two youngsters. One beelining for the other. Rishi Crash is wondering, what are they eating? They're eating a whole host of different things. They're eating leaves, they're eating grass, insects that they find, and so they will eat a whole host of different things. They are true omnivores, and the big males will, when the Thompson's gazelles give birth, will actually rush in and grab the babies. So they will eat meat, birds, eggs, all sorts of different things. They've got a very, very varied diet. So those two aren't looking like they're up to mischief, but that little group around there looks like they are. Now, there looks to be some stealthy climbing going on. Oh no, a little bit to the right there, Dave, on the ground. A little bit to the left. There we go, look at those little ones. On the floor, on the ground. Oh, he's on. He's coming down. Kitty Cat is wondering, do warthogs and baboons often hang out together? Oh, I've seen them quite often together here in the Mara, but I wouldn't say it's an everyday occurrence. The baboons will actually hang out with lots of different animals. Now, warthog, bushbuck, and there are bushbuck in these forests as well. What they'll do is they'll often, especially when the diospyruses are fruiting, they'll take advantage of the baboons feeding up in the trees and will actually feed underneath while they are feeding. Another thing that they do take advantage of is when the baboons are up in a sausage tree feeding on the flowers, those very sweet flowers with lots of nectar, and baboons are quite messy eaters, so they drop quite a lot, and quite a few different species will take advantage of the baboons' messy feeding habits and what they drop to the ground. Hey, pig. Hi, Jeffrey in Texas. Jeffrey is wondering, would these baboons also be a threat to leopard cubs? Most definitely, and lion cubs for that matter. If the mom is away, they will definitely kill any predator's cubs that they come across. Now, those ones who weren't being up to too much mischief earlier are now full of mischief. It seems like there's been a few more recruits that have climbed the tree, and they're keeping an eye on us from up high. Quite a peaceful scene here so far this morning. Sometimes baboons can be quite, what's the word, vicious and boisterous, but it seems to be quite calm here this morning. Everyone just warming up in the lovely morning sun. Lots of games about. Mercedes is wondering, what is the lifespan of a baboon? Well, in captivity, I've heard they can live well over sort of 20, 25 years, but in the wild, probably close 10 to 15 at the most. But it all depends on the area, the sort of external factors, amount of predators, pressure from humans. So it's difficult to say for sure, but it can vary depending on area and predator numbers. Lots of some dominance display going on there between two little ones. Now, of course, the social hierarchy in a baboon troop is fascinating, and it's well, with the males, it can be constantly in flux, and you've got. Normally in a big troop you'll have up to about 10 dominant dog baboons. Those are the big male baboons. They're in charge of security and sorting out any family arguments and whatnot. Now, female baboons have a very strict hierarchy as well. But if you're a smart, low-ranking female, you are able to sort of up your social stance for a while. You can never actually climb the social female hierarchy, but you can befriend and groom and tickle and keep a big male happy, who's one of the dominant males, and he will protect you from the other females. But that, of course, only works while that male baboon is in charge, and as long as you can sort of keep his favors. And so it's a very interesting thing to watch, and that's why they are such a studied creature. And also, unlike a lot of the more studied creatures like lions and cheetah that tend to sleep quite a lot, baboons are almost always active during the day. They're always up to something. There's a little tiny baby being manhandled on the ground just below that There we go, a little bit. There we go. There we go. Escape! Now, Gail is wondering, oh, there we go. Oh, so cute. Gail's wondering, who are the baboons' predators? Oh, there's just so much happening here. There, those two are about to drop one. Uh-oh. Can you get up? Yes, back up again. I think that branch might be a bit small for two of you. Yes. Well done. Safely to a thicker branch. Gail's wondering, who is a baboon's main predators? You would probably... Leopards, lions are definitely the two main predators of baboons. And the small baboons, young baboons, martial eagles will be another predator. Oh, look at this dominance display going on here. See there. Oh, just happened that. So that female walking away almost pushed herself onto that young male, even dominating him a bit, and he sort of just had to sort of love her before getting into trouble. So there's all of these little interactions that are constantly happening. But sorry, Gail, another one of the baboon's predators, martial eagles, crowned eagles, and even occasionally pythons. Right, most of the troop is about to disappear into... Oh, he's he. Where is he sitting? That looks like a male. But look at that wound on his lip. So he's obviously lost a fight, or he might have won the fight, but he didn't come off scot-free. It looks like quite an old male, actually, as well. Well, we're going to leave our lovely little baboon troop, and we're going to continue searching for whatever we can find. Hopefully there's a leopard somewhere along this forest line, and while we do that, it seems like Taylor is still looking for lions. Oh, look at that. Now that is a bus, a beast, a dinosaur, a gargantuan predator of the deep. Well, not so deep this year with the lack of rain we've had, but the river has risen over the last few days, and that is one of the big male crocodiles that resides at the crossings. Now, I thought it was the biggest one. I'm not sure if it is. Oh, hello, yellow-billed stork. Oh, and look at that, there's a little crocodile. Oh, he's so cute in comparison. Do you see him, Dove? Oh no, the car's in the way. Oh dear, I'll have to move shortly. But we've got quite a few crocs. It was a chilly morning this morning, and they're out basking. And generally you can tell the difference between a male and female based on size. So the big male crocodiles are much bigger and thicker in the neck, and they tend to be quite territorial in the Mara River. So what happens is they will be making sure that no other male crocodile gets this prime spot where the wildebeest like to commit suicide. And also, you can see he's surrounded by some, well, I suppose they're lovely and luscious if you're a crocodile, but some lasses. And so this prime territory will have good breeding females as well as ample supply of food. Now, some of these crocodiles are in excess of 4 meters, and they are very big beasts. Now, remember, hashtag Safari Live if you've got any questions for us. Now, the other interesting thing about this part of the world, and why I'm gazing about while you are looking at those crocodiles, is this is core Paradise Pride territory. And of course, the musketeers, Scar, Siko, Hunter and Morani, occupy both sides of the river here. And now I've often seen them on both sides, and they like to sleep under these croton bushes that are all around us. So we always check in every little spot of shade around here to make sure there isn't a lovely lion lying, and we can have the apex predator of land and the apex predator of the water in Africa, or inland Africa at least, in the same area. Now, can you hear some hippos around as well? Now, let us show you the tiny little croc. Now, well, let's get him on camera first, then I can tell you more about him. Vivian's wondering, what do crocodiles eat in the Mara? Well, they actually, well, the smaller crocs will eat a lot of fish. So Dave's just leaving the camera there so we can try and get the little guy into picture. We also don't want to go for a swim. Have we got him? A little bit more? Oh dear. Okay, wait, let me try something here quickly. What if I do that, Dave? Not. Okay, I've got one more trick up my sleeve. Let me just get out of here. Now, the crocodiles in the Mara, the smaller ones and that will eat fish and birds and whatever they might come across. But those really big beasts normally will only feed during the migration, and they'll be able to sustain themselves for almost 6 or 7 months. Dave, are we winning? Oh, goodness gracious me. I'm trying to think. Let me go round. Yeah, it's such a cute little crocodile. We're trying our best to show him to you. So they will feed off the zebra, the Thompson's gazelle, and the wildebeest when the migration arrives. I think this is the one, Dave. No! Oh dear. I don't know what else I can do unless we try straight on ahead. There? No! That's about our last chance. And we got him! There! Yay! Hello, little one. Be careful, that big one will eat you. Now, sorry about the slight obscure from the vehicle, but that's the only way we can get this croc in shot. Now, David, who's in Napa, was wondering, where does the season for baby crocodiles? Well, it depends on where you are in Africa. I'm not 100% sure of the season here, but the breeding season in most parts of Africa, it varies month to month due to heat and area. Normally at sort of the end of October, November, or October, the males will start getting very aggressive and chasing off other males from areas. But and then normally, well, sorry, a bit earlier than that actually. September is when that normally happens, and then mating, October, laying then happens sort of in the summer months, January or December, January, and then they hatch a couple of months later than that. But now that one, even though it is tiny, is probably about 2 or 3 years old. So they do grow quite slowly in the wild, and especially probably up here because it's quite cold. They will grow slower. So at really warmer temperatures, crocodiles tend to grow faster, and at colder temperatures they grow a bit slower. Now, one of the fascinating things about crocodiles is that the temperature that the eggs are kept at control the sex ratio of the crocodiles. So the warmer temperature will have a nest that produces almost all males, and a slightly cooler temperature produces all females. Now, so generally the eggs on top will become males, and the eggs lower down will become females. And it all just depends on where and whether the bushes, whether the nest is in shade or in full sun. So it is actually quite fascinating how just the temperature can determine the sex of the animals. Now, on the other side of the river, we have impala, buffalo, topi. There we go. There's some buffalo. Lovely little herd. There's the topi, being the policeman on top of his termite mound. And then the impala a little bit further to the right. There the impala are. Oh, look at those big horns. Oh, massive. Now, let's just slide back slightly so Dave can get the beastie crocodiles again. How's that, Dave? Now, those big crocodiles there could easily be 90 to 100 years old, and once they attain that massive size, they will stay in a relatively small stretch of river. Now, that is quite unique to ecosystems like the Mara, where you have this massive influx of food seasonally. And in other parts of Africa, they will be quite territorial, but over a much bigger area. So here in the Mara, they are able to sort of really dominate a small section of the river for the majority of their sort of massive lives, once they're big enough. Okay, well, we're going to keep moving, see if we can find Scar and the Paradise Pride. While we do that, let's go see what Taylor's up to. Well, here we go. We've got a tiny little raptor. Look at him, he's standing on one leg. Now, it looks to be either a common kestrel or a lesser kestrel. Now, I'm just trying to make doubly sure. I think it's going to be the common kestrel. In southern Africa, sometimes called a rock kestrel. This guy's just looking a little bit bedraggled at the moment. Now, the reason what I'm looking at for the difference between the common kestrel and the lesser kestrel is that it's a male as well, is the breast of the common kestrel or rock kestrel is a lot more streaky, and well, we can't really see it now. Oh, you can. It's definitely a common kestrel. Another ID feature is the wings, the outer wing feathers of a lesser kestrel are going to be grey, whereas these are that orangey with black spots. But there we go. Isn't that stunning? Now, I was actually looking for a bird that I was very excited to show everyone in this area, because we're literally right up on one of the crests in the sea of grass, as I like to call it. And as you can see, as Dave slowly zooms out, the reason I'm not standing is I didn't want to give the bird a fright, because we are quite close to it, but is something that would definitely want to avoid the kestrel, and it's a rosy-throated longclaw. We've seen a yellow-throated longclaw, but we haven't managed to see a rosy-throated one yet. And I've seen them quite a few times in this area, so decided to have a look. And you can see why I call this area a sea of grass. It's grass, grass, grass for almost as far as the eye can see. Very few trees up here. I'm going to try to sneak a little bit closer to the kestrel. Hopefully he doesn't fly. And it is most definitely a he. Nancy says, wow, we have kestrels here in Northern California. Well, indeed, there are kestrel species throughout the world, and some of them will even migrate. But I'm not sure whether we get any of the kestrels from Northern California in Africa. Oh, he's being so nice. Hi, little man. Oh, isn't that wonderful? He hasn't moved at all. And we can get a much better view. Now, it's very uncommon to have a little raptor sit so nicely like this. It's so uncommon. I'm going to have to take a picture. There we go. Beautiful. That is so cool. Now, he's mostly an insectivore. So he'll hawk for insects above the grass. And that's one of the reasons these big open grasslands often have quite a few... Oh, off he goes. Has he spotted something? Whoop. Yes, he did. He was after a grasshopper, I think. I said now after insects 90% of the time. But unfortunately, I think... oh, look at him go. You catch that, ho-ho. Oh, no, not a butterfly. Now, grasshoppers are one of their favorite foods. As well as many other insects. Unfortunately, there is a construction vehicle on its way towards us, so he might disappear. But we'll stick with him for as long as possible. I think he's about to take off. 1, 2, 3. There he goes. Okay, we're going to keep moving away from this beautiful little kestrel. In the meantime, we're going to go to Taylor with a big-eared antelope.